Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about the type tool and everything type. Now, when you guys are going to do a title of something, a title of a book or a comic book cover or a magazine cover or something like that, then you're going to want to be able to choose the type of type and how you want that type to look. So on your toolbar is the T. And if you click and hold, you're going to see all these other things underneath just the type tool. Today, we're just going to talk about the type tool. So just click on the T. Now, when I come over here, I do not want to make a text box because when I make a text box, it limits what I can do with that type because the box constrains it. You only want to make a text box if you're typing a whole paragraph. If you're not typing a paragraph, then don't make a box. So I'm going to click on the type tool and then I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to click. Now when I do that, it gives me this fake text. Now normally by default Illustrator will be Myriad Pro regular 12. That's just a default what it always goes to. Now I can change that. There are so many different fonts you can use. Illustrator itself has a whole bunch, and then there's what is it, DaFont. You can download and install your own fonts if you want to. But we're just going to use these right now. I want to choose a nice thick font. And let me tell you something a little bit more about fonts. A font that has, well, let me show you this one. And then I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it bigger. And then I'm going to type another one. And I'm going to change the font to this and make it bigger so you can see it better too. Now, I'm going to tell you about these two fonts. This font, if you've noticed, this is just, it's like a block letter. And this font has, do you see how the L has got that little extra little line there, and there's a little cross at the top of the L, and then the M, the E, not the E, but the R, the M, and the P, they've got those little blocks underneath the letters. Well, that is a serif font, and this, the one without them, is a sans serif font. So the sans serif font is without the little limbs, those little added little limbs. And the serif does not have them. I get them so mixed up. The serif has them. The sans serif does not have them. So there were just some things to know. Then there's also one other type. So you have the serif, the sans serif, and then you also have a script. And a script is like handwriting. So let's say that's kind of, and that's fancy. Then you have the fanciful ones too. But a script is, well, this one's easy because it's called brush script. So a script is like when people write in cursive. That's a script. So that's a script. So you've got the serif, the sans serif, and the script. So them are just things to keep in mind. Now, if I have these and I want to change the color of those, right now they come in black. By default, it's always black. Well, I could change that color, remember, different ways, just like in shapes. I could come up here and change it. I could double click here and change it. Or I could pull out my palette here and change it there too. So you have all of that you can do. Now let me show you some different effects. So I'm just going to take that and erase that. So a cool thing to do is to do, let me see, I'm going to type a word, let's see, my word, I don't like that font, I'm going to change that font to, let's do it that, and let's make it bigger. so that you can see this real well. So I've got that there. And now I'm going to take a picture because I want you to see a picture through it. Now, I don't like to distort my fonts, but I'm going to distort this one just so you can see this effect better. And by that mean, by what I'm saying by distorted is I'm making it to where it's not, it's out of proportion. Okay, so I've distorted it that way. So now I'm going to bring in a picture. So I'm going to go File, Place. So this is one thing you can do, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of cool to do this. So I'm going to File, Place. I'm going to go to my pictures, and I'm going to choose one of these. There's a nice picture of a flower. And let me put that there. I'm going to put it somewhere right there, but I want to send it to the back. So of course it's Object, Arrange, Send to Back. So see, now I have that word in front of that flower. Now what I'm going to do is I got to choose both objects, both the background and the word. So I'm going to come across both of them. And I'm going to go up to the word object and down to clipping mask. So I'm making a clipping mask. And I'm going to say make. So that now you could see that rose through the words. Now if I just click on it and move it, I'm just moving it, the whole thing. If I want to choose, I want to move that picture in the background to go in those words a little different. So then what I have to do is I have to choose the direct selection tool, and I have to click on that. I don't want to move the word, I want to move the picture. And it's a little tricky. There we go. So see, I'm moving the word without moving the picture. So I can change where I see that word or that picture. Okay, so that is something another way you could do that is you can also do this too. I could make, because let me show you this. Let's say I type a word. Again, I'm just going to say, well, let's just do title. Okay, so I've got title. And let's say I want to put a gradient on it. Well, I cannot just put a gradient. It will not let me put a gradient in a type. So I'm coming here and I could say, oh, I want a gradient there. Well, it won't do it. It just will not do letters in a gradient. But there's two ways I can do it. One is I can make another clipping mask. So I could come here, make a square. Let's change these colors so you can see them better. Let's make it a red and a yellow. So it goes yellow to red. And now I got to arrange it, send it to the back. So I'm going to do it just like I did the flower up here. So I'm going to select both the square and the word. Clipping mask and make. And there we go. See? Now remember, if I want to, okay, I'm moving the whole thing. I'm not moving the picture. There we go. See, now I'm moving it. See how that E changes color just a little bit because it has to do with my gradient. And I could even, no, it's not going to do it that way. But that's one way. And I'm going to show you one more way. And this is again, I'm just going to do title. And I'm going to stretch that a little bit so you can see it better. So this is the other way. See, the thing about this one, if I decide I want to change or add, let's say I want to put a S on there. So see, now I've got another word. And see how I can move that. See, I'm moving that. I can add another letter, or I could change the word if I wanted to. I could come in here and I could just totally just say, hey, I want this to say something else. I'm on the wrong one. I want it to say something else. Okay, it's still going to have that color change, that gradient on it. But another way I can do this is I can come up, I've got, these are letters, these are type, they're type letters. I can come up here and I go to the word type up here in the menu, and I go down to create outlines. Now what that's going to do is this is no longer a type. It's no longer, the Illustrator no longer sees that as letters. It now sees those as shapes. So if I come here and click on the direct selection tool, you're going to see all these little anchor points. So, and see if I click here and I go to anchor, you're not going to see anchor points because that's type. These now are shapes. So each one of those. Okay, so now, but because I did that, now I can come in here and say, hey, I want that to be, I want a gradient on those. And see, now it'll work. Okay. Another cool thing about creating outlines is now I could play with these letters like I could not do when they're typed, because now it's a shape. So now I can play with the anchor points. And I can really distort. There might be times you want to do this. Look what I'm going to do to that E. I mean, that's pretty cool. Let's do it with the T. Come up here. I could come down here. So see? Now you can play with the little anchor points. And now you could really mess with your type. Okay? So that's to create outlines. And then it makes this, but now I can never change those type. That I can't make that a different word. I can't add an S to it. If I wanted to put an S on it, I'd have to come up here and I'd just have to type an S. I couldn't. And then I'd have to add it to it. Okay, so that's the difference, because now it sees this as shapes, not type. Okay, so I know that was a lot. Let me get to what else I want to show you. So now let's add some effects to our word. Okay, I've typed the word word. And let's make it a color. Let's change the color to something different. Okay, so now there are so many different things I can do with this word. One of the things I want to show you is I want to show you how to give it a wave. I can go to, well, see, I've typed the word. Let me move this. I've typed the word, and if you're still here, I'm on type up here. If you look up top in your control bar, you're going to see this little thing right here. It's make envelope. So if I click on that, then this comes up, warp options. Now if you can't find it up here, for some reason it's not showing, another way to find that is you go to effect and you go down to warp and you click on arc. And then that brings you up to the same thing. Now, what's cool about this is that's an arc, yes, and I can change the horizontal, the vertical of that. That's fun right there, just doing that. That's pretty cool. I can also come right here where it says style, and there's all these other styles. Like I can make it bulge in the middle. That's kind of cool. There's a shell. Oh, the fisheye. That's kind of cool too. Wave. Yeah, it's not showing that, but we could play with the vertical. We could play with that. That'll do something else. The wave usually, if it's a long word, it's going to look better. So let's say you're doing Superboy or Superman or something, then the wave might be cooler. Arch. Play with that does not look like, oh, because I don't have the bend. There we go. So you can do that too. So that's kind of cool. You could do things like that. I can do that. Then I can also come up here and do a 3D. I can give it a 3D effect which that gives this, see how it's 3D and I can play with the depth. Ho, look at that. Now another thing, I want to take off that, okay, so let me come here, do this again. Word, because I want to show you more about this 3D stuff. Give that a color. Now, okay, so when I'm in this 3D, there you go. You play with the depth. You can twist it. Oh wow! Look at that. That's different. The taper it'll kind of, it's almost like perspective. The taper is. We can play with we could do some, see how it's rotating? So you can rotate it. The X, the Y, some math going on here. You can rotate it around. So that's fun. You can come here to the lighting and you could play with the different lightings. See how it looks different? Standard. So that's fun. Let's see what some of these else is. Ooh. That revolve, really, see, look at that, it's revolving around, and you can still twist it. I don't think I like the revolve though. Let me come back to there. Oh, what's inflate? Let's look at, ooh, look at that. That makes it look even more rounded, and there again you could still play with the depth. You gotta have a little depth or it's not gonna look good. And again, you can twist it, turn it. So there, I wanted to show you that because that is really cool too. Now, let's do something else. Let me add word. Oops. Thought I would type in something else here. Again, I'm going to make a different color. And I'm going to stretch it because I want to show you other things you can do. Now, you guys have already played with the drop shadow, but we can come here and we can add the drop shadow to it. We can do a drop shadow is kind of cool. It makes it look like it's coming off the page. So drop shadows are nice. Another thing is, let me take that off. If I want to make it look like it's got a shadow, like it's sitting on the ground and there's a shadow, I can, what I would do, I'm going to select it, I'm going to edit, copy it, and paste it. And so I have two of them. And I'm going to take this one, or the one behind it, whichever one I want to do. I'm going to take it, I'm going to make it black, because it's going to be a shadow. Now the shadow, that means I can't do it right now because it wouldn't be right. So I want to flip it. So I'm going to transform it. I'm going to reflect it, but I need to reflect it horizontally so that I could put it right underneath. Okay, so I'm going to get it to where it also should be touching. Now, I want to make it look like the light is coming from up here. Let me get rid of that word right now. So the light is coming from the top. Say my sun is right here. My light source is right here. Let's make a sun so you guys can see the sun. And so it should be yellow because it's a sun. Okay, and the sun rays are coming down. And so the light is coming down that way. So what I've got to do with that is I've got to shear it to make it look like it's coming. And I've got to shear it and I've got to blur it. So I'm going to come up to Object, Transform, Shear. Now, here's where you got to kind of play with it. Oops. This is not working. Let me cancel that. Maybe it's not shear that I want. It is shear that I want. But I want it to it's not doing what I want it to. Yeah, I'm not doing what I want it to. Let me go to free distort because that's going to work for me. So when I get into the free distort, it's got these points right here, and I'm going to do this. You see what I'm doing? This probably works the best anyway. I'm going to take this, and if you can see that, it is. I'm going to make it look like it's coming up like that, and then I'm going to say okay. So see now it looks like it. Now I'm going to blur it though. So I'm going to give it a effect. I'm going to go down to blur and Gaussian blur. And there I can play with that Gaussian blur. Oh, there, that looks pretty good. And you might even take the opacity down on it a little bit too. So I'm going to click on it. It is clicked. Where's my opacity? Opacity's right there. Let's take the opacity down. There we go. So there, now it looks like it's a shadow. Take this down here. And send it back. There you go. So I wanted to show you that too. So I could still, well, if I wanted to make this 3D, then I'm going to have to play with the shadow a little bit more. But that gives you a lot to work with. So I just want you to have fun and experiment. Superman, red. Let's make him 3D. And then let's also give him a twist. That's kind of fun. And then I think I can still give him this too. Make it vertical. Oh, looky there. So the things that you can do, just have fun.